There's a truth that rarely gets talked about. Not every friendship is a healthy one. You might ask, what exactly do you mean by that? What we're talking about here is a real friend, someone who truly has your best interests at heart, someone who is genuine with you, not sneaky or fake. Many relationships start out great, but over time, they can slowly turn into an invisible source of stress. You still call them a friend. Yet, after every hangout, you find yourself feeling smaller, more exhausted, or more drained than you were before. If you've known someone for a long while, but lately you've been feeling unhappy or like something is just off, it might be time to hit pause. Take a moment to see if that person is a true ally or just a toxic presence in your life. Here are 6 signs that they aren't a real friend. 1. The conversation always circles back to them. Think back to the last time you met that friend. The conversation lasted an hour, maybe 2, but when you got home and played it back in your head, you realized you barely said a word about yourself. It wasn't because you didn't have anything to say. It was because every topic quickly circled back to their life. But when it's finally your turn to speak, what usually happens? Maybe they abruptly change the subject. Or they give you a one-word answer, then go right back to talking about themselves. Now, this doesn't always mean they're a bad person. Some people simply don't realize they're hogging all the space in the conversation. But if this happens almost every time you meet, it starts to create a real imbalance. A genuine friend is just that, genuine. They might ask how you are out of politeness at first, but if you actually have something to share, they'll listen and show their support. They care about you, and they truly want to get to know you better. And of course, the hope is that you show that same level of care and support for them too. 2. When you need them most, they disappear. One of the clearest tests of a friendship isn't when things are going great, it's when things fall apart. If your friend only talks about themselves and their own problems, while showing zero interest in what you're going through, there's a good chance they aren't a real friend. Imagine you've just had an incredibly tough week. Pressure at work, drama at home, or maybe you're just feeling completely burnt out. You text that friend, you just want to talk, but the response you get is usually, "Yeah, let's do it some other time. I'm just way too busy this week." The irony is, when they're the ones struggling, you're always there. You pick up the phone at midnight, you spend hours just listening. The difference here isn't about frequency. Everyone gets busy sometimes. The real issue is priority. When someone truly values you, they might not be able to fix your problems, but they won't disappear into thin air when you need them most. 3. They are overly critical of you. Some fake friends can be extremely critical of you. It's not always a direct insult. Instead, it's those half-joke, half-truth remarks. They might say, "Oh, that outfit is okay. I guess it just looks better on someone else." Or, "You actually did a good job on that. I honestly didn't think you could do it." Remember this. Your friends shouldn't be your biggest critics. They should be your biggest fans. A good friend can offer feedback, but their goal is to help you grow, not to make you feel small. They are honest, but they say it in a kind and friendly way. If a friend is toxic, however, they'll focus on shaming you rather than providing helpful critiques. A real friend will be truthful, but they'll deliver their advice with a gentle touch. 4. They apologize but never actually take accountability. When your friend is wrong, do they say sorry? No. What if they do apologize? Is it actually sincere? If it's not, that's even more concerning. If you bring up a concern about the friendship and they just respond with a look of indifference, they might not be a real friend. Instead, you'll often hear things like, "I'm sorry you feel that way," or "I didn't mean it like that." It sounds like an apology. But in reality, the responsibility has been shifted back to you. You become the one who is too sensitive, the one who misunderstood. Over time, this creates an incredibly draining cycle. You try to explain your feelings, but somehow you end up being the one apologizing for, making things tense. A healthy friendship doesn't mean there's never any conflict. It simply means both people are willing to take responsibility for their part. 5. Every mistake you make is remembered. There are people with exceptionally good memories, not for the good times, but for every single mistake you've ever made. A small argument today can quickly turn into a long list, just like last time you did that. And what about that other time? Incidents from months ago suddenly resurface. In psychology, this behavior often appears in relationships that lack emotional safety. Instead of resolving the current problem, they dig up the past as a way to protect themselves. The result? The argument never actually ends. Because every time you talk, you aren't just dealing with one issue. You're forced to answer for a long history of mistakes. In a healthy friendship, people might still bring up the past, but not to keep score. They do it to understand each other better and move forward. 6. After meeting them, you usually feel worse. This might be the most important sign of all, and it's also the easiest one to overlook. Pay close attention to how you feel after every interaction with that person. Do you feel unhappy when you're around them? Do you feel a lack of confidence when you're by their side? Now, you don't always have to feel joyful around your friends, that's normal. There will be times when you feel anxious or down. But if that friend consistently makes you feel bad about yourself, it's a major red flag for a toxic relationship. Some people have a way of making others feel tense without doing anything obvious. Maybe they constantly compare, are always judgmental, or they always place themselves on a pedestal above you. Over time, you start heading into every hangout with a sense of defensiveness. You overthink before you speak. You second-guess every story you share. A friendship should be a place where you can breathe out, not a place where you have to hold your breath. If a relationship consistently leaves you feeling insecure or exhausted, it's a sign that your energy is being drained. If that's the case, there's a high probability you have a toxic friend. Conclusion. Do you recognize any of these signs in your own friendships? It might be best to have an honest conversation with them, or perhaps consider letting that friendship go. Friendship is a lot like a garden. If you don't pull the weeds, the flowers will never have room to bloom. Walking away from a toxic friend isn't an act of betrayal, it's an act of self-respect. You deserve to be surrounded by people who make you feel like a better version of yourself, not a more exhausted one. But ask yourself, do you see any of these signs in yourself? If you do, remember that change is always possible. Start by working on the negative behaviors you've recognized. It might just be a small step at first, but when you acknowledge your mistakes and offer a genuine apology, your friendships can slowly find their way back to a healthy path. Sooner or later, you can return to what a real friendship is meant to be. We hope you enjoyed this video. If you found it helpful, please hit the like button and share it with your real friends. Don't forget to subscribe to DeepShift and turn on the notification bell so you never miss more content like this. Thanks for watching.